This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. When you come home from work, you walk through the front door of your place, what are you feeling? What vibe is going on there? Well, your home should be more than just a place to live. It should be a reflection of who you are. And if it's not, maybe you need to think about changing things up, maybe a transformation, maybe working with an interior designer. We're going to talk to one today and look at a journey of somebody who had some work done by her. And also, you hear this term used, decorator and then designer. What's the difference? We're going to dig into that as well. She is the person behind Tab Interior Designs, and it's so great to have Trish Bonney back with us on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Real good, real good. I know we're going to look at a project here. Before we even dig into this project, the difference between a decorator and an interior designer, what is it?
So decorator, they can absolutely help you with, picking colors, fabrics for things like maybe drapery and whatnot. Whereas an interior designer, we should be able to do like your architectural drawings, provide you with renderings. We are held at a much higher standard. So if they're a part of things like the National Kitchen and Bath Association, they may have kitchen and bath certifications, which is extremely important. Decorators can do more of the fluff, whereas designers should do the fluff and the technical side, and be there throughout an entire project, especially if it's like a new build or a full house remodel, for example.
So when you say designer, how deep do you go with that? You're not an architect, but you can certainly work with one. But would you be also the person saying, you know what? You might want to think about taking that wall down. You might want to, assuming that there's headers there and it's all good structurally. But as a designer, would you be doing that kind of stuff?
Well, and there's also differences between the designers. Like, for example, I have my bachelor's and master's in interior design, and I have a kitchen and bath certification. So I did go to a school that was really strong on architecture. I also worked for an architect for 5 years. So with that being said, generally my drawings can get through for permits. Our architectural drawings, our full CD sets are exactly what an architect can do. With that being said, if there's a lot of structural needs in that project, especially like a new build, I may have to refer to my friends, my architecture friends, and structural engineers that will have to sign off on things as well. And the engineers will definitely be doing their own drawings. That's a whole different beast. But there are some designers that can do like your typical floor plans and elevations when you look at things 2D standing up, like on the wall. So they can do similar drawings, but not as technical. So there is some difference. And there are, unfortunately, in quite a few states, some states, designers do not have to have any certification whatsoever. In that case, technically, at the end of the day, they're not supposed to call themselves interior designers. Do they do that? Yeah. But states like California, you have to have some kind of license or certification. You definitely are held to a much higher standard. So it does vary state to state. It varies from designer to designer. And then, like I said, there's decorators, there's stagers. They strictly stage homes for sale. So there's a big difference between all of us. And if you are going to interview somebody for a project, ask exactly what they are qualified to do to make sure it is fitting for your needs.
Let's get into this project. I'm intrigued. This is actually sort of in real time because this was, if I'm understanding this right, just finished for this client.
Yes, he is going to be moving in this week. So it is a home that is built in the late 1800s. So it was a full gut remodel. So when you walked inside like a year ago, there weren't like, it was down to the studs. Um, so
Wow.
now he's got the walls up, all of the hard surfaces or the more the items that are going to be staying in there, like light fixtures, all of that is done. Some of the furnishing is done. And keep in mind, this is, a huge investment that somebody is making. So a lot of times they can't do it all at one time. But now that it's completed, now we have to focus on smaller items like the accessories, the artwork. But again, fixed items, light fixtures, all the doors, the paint colors, that's all completed, and the flooring. But this particular room, he did already, and we've delivered it. We've already delivered his actual bed. He picked out some mattresses, and he has the area rug in there as well. The things that we're missing are like the nightstands and the dresser, and again, like artwork. We are having the bedding made for him. It is all custom. And this just gives our clients a good example of what to look forward to, especially when we did talk about furniture a long time ago, but we got the priorities already done. And now it's just the niceties that we're adding in. So just last month, we ordered the bedding to be made. But this gives them a good idea of what we're going to be doing. With that being said, if I go to this page, this is where we're saying, okay, this is your existing bed. Don't look at the bedding. This is just the picture. But here's option 1 for the dressers. And this dresser in particular, it does come in a textured material. And then here's option 2. So you see how I just changed these, and we do have the sizes on there, so he has a good idea. These are fabrics for the bedding. And then here's option 3. So this way he can pick out those niceties, and we'll get those on order right away. He has a guest bedroom. Again, this is the one that's already been picked out, and we're just showing him different options for the dressers and nightstands.
Wow. I love the fact that the client is in control. Like you're presenting it, and let's say, the guest bed, you presented that and I looked at it, I was like, man, you know what? I'm not really feeling that headboard. All right, let's look at another one. Almost anything seems like it's possible.
Yes, and here's the rendering for the guest bedroom. So again, it was just an idea about a year ago, but we have already painted the walls this color. This light fixture is in place. The area rug he had picked out, that is a custom area rug. It is handmade, so it won't be in until next spring. So there's some things where people, if they're willing to wait for it, it's an heirloom quality that he can pass on. That was something he ordered quite a while ago, but we just ordered the bedding a couple of weeks ago, and now again it's the dressers and the nightstands. We do have these lamps. We do have this piece already, so it's the things that you might not need right away because there is a closet for storage. So the dressers and whatnot we waited on a little bit longer, and of course artwork.
And again, these are what we're looking at. These are all renderings.
These are renderings. So AI is wonderful, but it's still not quite ready to make a rendering that is to scale. And sometimes if you really, really like designers, we can spot things right away in rendering. But for this room, for example, or even let's go to something that's even more technical, which is usually your kitchen. An AI rendering for kitchens, a lot of times you won't see lights, especially cans. You might see a cabinet upside down or something like that. There's something weird typically in AI. I'm not saying that one day it won't get there, but right now it's still not quite there.
Yeah.
We take days to produce these. And we make sure every cabinet that you actually are going to have in your kitchen, in your space, is to scale. It has the proper amount of drawers, for examples, doors. We even try to put the hardware on there correctly. So, and like this, for example, this would be hard to show in an AI rendering because it was a custom made sink. So it's those types of things. AI is getting very close and very good at it. But this is something that we have to create in the computer program. We make sure that the tile is to scale. So a client is really looking at something that is almost photorealistic to what they're actually going to get. Because this, again, especially your kitchen, it's a big investment that you're making. So we personally want to make sure you really feel comfortable with what you're going forward with before you purchase anything.
I want to go back on colors now. And the bathroom, I'm sorry, the bedroom that we're in a little while ago with a darker blue on the wall.
Yeah. Let me go there.
I used that color. I mean, it looks almost the same color in a family room, living room in a house I sold in the last year or so. Um, I just liked it. And I did an accent. I guess that was the accent wall. And then the other wall was more of a, just a muted color, call it a light gray, whatever. What's up with this color? Is this big now?
Blues have always been, so you have your staple colors, black, white, and blue is actually kind of in that. It's different shades of blue. It seems like now in the past year or two, people are much more accepting of really dark, rich colors. To me personally, dark colors feel more cozy. And
Mm,
everybody will say, oh, it's going to make my room feel smaller. But in these small rooms, and again, this is an older house, there's lots of different weird angles to older houses.
yep.
And the one thing about that is when you color saturate a room, and that is big right now to do that, um, and take the whole ceiling and everything and make it one color, it's a way that we can play with your eyes. It can make a space feel bigger because it almost feels like the walls are never ending instead of the other way around. For me, I like how it envelops me and kind of gives me a little hug when I get into the room because it feels more cozy to me. I like those deep, rich colors, whereas some people this might be overwhelming. But when you have the older homes, like this is their office, again, these weird angles. Where do you stop? Where do you start? So this is where I say just carry it all the way through. And you can play up things like we had the contractor add molding into this space to give it a little more character, bring back the character that when we tore down the walls, we got rid of. But this used to be the attic. All the blue bedroom in this room, it was technically the attic. So we popped the rooftop a little bit, but you still are going to have those angles. But that to me is true to the home. But
I love it. And I totally get what you're saying where it's cozy because it feels like you're being hugged in color,
yeah,
but you
yeah,
also have the contrast when you use those darker colors. Things pop and look, bright and fresh. Just looking at that wall there, the lower half with some of the trim on there, stunning. And I'm loving, really loving inside that window
yeah,
where you made it white again.
yeah, yeah. And that's, they had brand new windows put in throughout the entire house with the white frame, which the black frame has been very popular for quite a few years now. But one, it is more expensive. Two, it was originally he thought about the black, but that's not in keeping with this home. These traditional homes didn't have black window frames, so it was in keeping with that. Pure color saturation, which I said that is very like color drenching. That is really popular right now, where you do the entire, all the trim and the frames and whatnot. But at the same time, some people aren't fully comfortable with that yet.
Hmm.
So this gives you a good idea where you can color drench the walls, but maybe you don't do the frame and the doors, because that is where there is even more time spent and it's more technical. So you will pay more for those areas. But in his other spaces, like this is a loft area. This is up in the attic. But the client, I thought, because it is open to the downstairs, let's keep it a more neutral, brighter, but all of your furniture pieces, maybe those are a little more dark and cozy looking. And then pulled the same cabinetry that was downstairs upstairs, because he likes color. But we put a wallpaper on one of the walls, which was something for this client in particular. He loves records, he loves old movie posters. So that is recycled movie posters and newspapers and magazines in the wallpaper. So trying to make something very personal for him as well.
This just looks so cozy, contemporary, classic at the same time. Let's talk about the brick on the wall. I always love the way that looks. It's been around for a long time. Is that something that's here to stay a little bit longer?
Well, especially if you live in New York, New Jersey, where houses were made of brick, this is a wallpaper. Um,
Wow. Okay. You got me on that.
that's the wallpaper I was talking about. It's made out of recycled materials. But brick, in my opinion, again, if it's in keeping with the home, I like to accentuate that. And if this was brick, yeah, I would have kept it as brick. This
Mm.
house, these are all new walls, so we didn't have that material to show off. Down in his closet, there was some brick that was the original siding of the house, but we extended out. But like I love the traditional row houses like in Chicago that have the brick and whatnot. Why not? Why not play that up and accentuate it and make it a part of the story? Because those homes, that's what they're made of. And it is much more safe than drywall if something happens. So no, I do love playing that up. And I think that's something, natural stone. There you'll see a lot of kitchens now where the backsplash is stone or big rocks or brick. Um, those elements are very popular right now. Anything bringing the nature in or natural materials that we have, they are being used a lot.
I'm looking around here thinking, what wall is going to get that wallpaper? Because it really gives you a nice earthy feel to it. And from this vantage point, that doesn't look like wallpaper.
Yeah, and the great thing is it's recycled materials, so it's
Wow.
upcycling. And then the light fixtures, we had them made specific sizes to make sure it fit the space really well. This is a mudroom where we put wallpaper in,
Mm,
and I did purposefully choose to put commercial grade, because you can wipe this down with a little bit of spray of a bleach cleanable product, because mudrooms can get dirty
sure.
in Colorado, especially if you're walking from the outside coming in. If there's children running around or pets, stuff
Yep.
gets slapped on the walls, all over the floors. But this was a fun space that we created for him. And then again, obviously, this client is way more adventurous and willing to do really cool things. But we found a, a tile company where we could design the layout, but also pop in. We color match the colors to the cabinets with that little tiny bit of green tile in there.
Mm.
And it's fun when you have a client that is so willing to do different things. And this is a steam shower. Steam showers, especially in Colorado lately, those are getting really popular. Um, so with steam showers, you have to tile the ceiling. That is a must. Um, Let's see what other spaces.
Now, with this, you made the recommendations like I don't know what it's called. The name is escaping me, but on the shower wall, the inset where you can
The
put,
niche.
yeah,
Yeah.
you made that recommendation and then they or you had it done,
Yes. Yes.
constructed that way.
So all of these renderings were done prior to construction being completed.
Got it.
And we will talk to the clients. Like one thing that I would say is trending a lot. If you look from this view, typically we see the niche right away. And a lot of people are not liking the thought of seeing that because it's holding bottles, it's holding soap, it's holding stuff, and
Mm,
they don't want to see the stuff. So just like in our kitchens, we're trying to hide stuff. We are now doing that. So this is as if I'm standing in the shower looking out into the bathroom.
sure.
So we're hiding those niches from the interior, but still putting them there. But we'll ask, like, do you use Costco size bottles versus, your traditional 8-ounce shampoo bottles or whatever? How much stuff are you going to put in there? So this is very thought out and discussed prior to the design. And then we show them these renderings before they commit to, like the tile, for example. For some people, this might be way too much pattern happening, or they don't like the size of the 24 by 24, or they don't like it with the small mosaics at the bottom. But that's why we show these to them, because you're going to invest a lot of money in something like that.
Well, therein lies why you hire a qualified, professional, talented interior designer. Because the rest of us, we're not going to think about that because there's so many things going on.
Yeah.
Thinking about the niches and the bottles in there and seeing that when you first walk in, that might escape somebody else. Didn't escape you because this is what you do. But therein lies, I truly believe that's why you are hiring somebody who knows what they're doing.
Right.
That's really what it is. Wow. That's just stunning looking at all of this and also seeing it in real time, knowing that this person is just moving in and and it takes time. Um, Undo the screen share for a moment
Okay.
because I want us to have room to put up your website. What's your website?
Tab Interior Designs. And if you Google that and bring up Colorado, you can find us, our Instagram, our website, how to contact us, and our phone number is on there. We also have a contact us page on our website, so it's easy to get. It goes directly to my email. But that's the easiest way to find us. Just Google us.
Mm, I love looking at these projects with you. It's fun. Like seeing what's possible. It's inspiration, and on your website with the portfolio, so many pictures and a lot of insight there as well. Trish, thanks for being here today and sharing your latest and the greatest. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.